Yo, 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 we're back. Fresh, special episode of Talking Game. I'm your host, Anthony, LT, King, Yellow Tape King, Tony, whatever you call me, lets me know what I was on when you was fucking with me. And we're back with a special episode with my man, Ahmed. What's up with you?
How you doing, man? I'm doing well.
That's good, man. I'm happy to have you on. People, this is like the production side. Well, I wouldn't say production, but things people don't see. This
Yeah,
this didn't just line up over a
right.
day, right? I ain't hit you up yesterday and set this up today, but this is much needed, man. I cover, you see my content. I talk a lot of sports, but
Yep.
you cover the business of sports, um, more than anybody that I follow. So better than anybody that I know. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
just real quick, just so you know, like part of the reason why I created this podcast was to talk to people and fans of certain sports that I might not be into as much or cover certain things in sports or regions that I'm not as tapped into. So I really appreciate you being on, man.
Happy to be here, obviously. I'm
Yeah.
really happy. I'm really excited to the hour we're to spend. So yeah.
Yes. Yes, man. Yes. So let's just get into it and we can start with talking about what got you into breaking down the business of sports.
So I mean, I went to business school. I've been in product strategy for a long time.
Okay.
And one of the things is that I just constantly read business strategy and kind of just soak up all this stuff, really. I started a newsletter about a year and a half ago. Just circulated it towards friends. And every time I would write about business strategy stuff, you would get like a lot of responses and stuff like that. It would basically be like real world cases. And every time I would cover like Nike or like any sort of like the business of sports type stuff, uh, people would go crazy. Opinions were like super polarized. People were really like either A, passionate, or B, saying, you're not considering this. And I just kind of found out that there was this niche that was like in our audience that was just sort of like under delivering. So late last year, beginning of this year, we decided we're just going to write about the business of sports. And doing that, we've seen like a tremendous amount of growth in our newsletter. I've seen a lot of like my channel is doing really well on Instagram. So that's kind of how I really got into it. I was interested as like basically like a generalist type of like point of view on how things are going. And I just kind of realized the stuff that I always wanted to read about sports. You have like the in-game analysis, you have like the player narratives, but there are like narratives behind the scenes that are going on too that I just don't feel like get covered enough, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you would basically like if you wanted to do that, you would basically have to wait for like you would just have to read like exclusively like Jeff Passan or whatever, or like
Yeah.
whenever like the big sort of like reporting pieces being broken out. So I wanted to create something where somebody at least is thinking about some of this stuff all the time. So that's how I got into it, really.
That's pretty cool. Interesting enough, growing up and like just being a sports fan, I never really cared about it,
Yeah,
like the business side of it, because like you said, it's not highlighted unless you're looking for certain writers or certain people.
that's
But
right.
like being so little life story. So I used to do like Uber Eats deliveries or whatever.
Hmm.
And
Yeah,
I'll listen to podcasts and I'll listen to like Brian Windhorst or Jeff Passan and stuff.
yeah,
And listening to them talk about the business of said sport, basketball, baseball, it helped me understand what I'm watching on the field
that's
or
right.
court,
That's right.
and as you know, recently, like the last year and a half in basketball, second apron, second apron, second apron.
Second April.
Oh, and a lot of people are just starting to like realize that is affecting teams now. But like
Yeah.
I've been listening to these guys for like the last year and a half, 2 years. I've been hearing it for a while. And it helps me when I'm having conversation with my friends when they're like, let's make this, they should make this trade. It's like they can't. Like
Right.
they,
Yeah.
they actually can't. So like that's why I say like what you do in the content and the writing that you provide. Hey man, that kind of stuff helps me win a lot of arguments. All right.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm really the group chat whisperer. This is how I got into it, where I would have friends who would approach me because we're all coming up in age. We're all in our 30s now, and
Yeah.
everyone's like starting to get serious into business issues. And a lot of my friends have idiots in their group chats, and literally they would come to me and be like, "Hey, listen, they screenshotted something, and they would screenshots like some sort of like BS analysis that somebody heard somewhere." And I was like, "This is not true." Blah 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 blah. And that's why I started writing the newsletter in the first place, because like
Yeah.
understanding like that thing like behind the curtain is really just going to help you out, and like planning for realistic hypotheticals,
Yeah.
also just not being surprised when something happens,
Yeah.
so yeah, 100%. Like,
It helps a lot. It helps a lot. Um, so speaking of business and all that, which league of the four major sports, we can exclude hockey unless you want to talk about it. But
no, it's all good.
okay, which league do you feel has the best CBA? For both, well, yeah, for both players and owners, like mutually.
I
Um,
would say, yeah, no, I mean, I would just say like my gut for this, because I was looking into my notes when you when you gave me the questions. It really seems like it's the NBA, right? Where you have, I think, the highest salary per player.
yeah,
The revenue share model isn't bad on the owner side either. Um, this is compared to MLB, which like does not really have a salary cap and has like a lot of problems when it comes to owners underinvesting.
yeah.
So I would say that it's probably going to be the NBA. I think we should talk about this question after we go through everything, because I think there's a lot of stuff behind the scenes here. Like we can take a lot of approaches to this
Well,
answer. But yeah,
well, the good thing is, I'm glad you said the NBA because my second question was an Adam Silver question,
yeah,
and
I
it's
think,
and after what Adam Silver said today, I like that I sent you this question. I really want to hear how you feel about this.
yeah.
So, with you, do you feel as if Adam Silver, direction of the NBA is best for the product of basketball?
So let's talk about that question that he got in the first place, where I think someone had asked him about the NBA being on all these different platforms, and I really think that he was caught off guard, because I feel like he's a really prepared guy, and I don't think he was media trained for that answer, really. That's what happened. And I saw a guy shooting off the hip where he said, well, the NBA is a highlight sport,
Yeah,
and we do have games on broadcast networks. It was something really where it's like, hey, this is a highlight driven sport. So you can go just, if you can't watch all the games, just go watch it on YouTube,
yeah,
which doesn't seem flippant or anything like that. But it's also like, it's a real reality where my answer to the question, if Adam Silver, honestly, I would say from an owner perspective, this man negotiated a media rights deal that is almost three times what the previous media rights deal was.
yeah,
He really just went to the highest bidder on everything. I feel like that's kind of like when he's kind of, I guess, maybe like remembered by like owners. I would say that, yeah, Adam did great for us in that, in that 2026, 2027 like media rights deal. He really locked the NBA up for us as a powerhouse and stuff like that.
yeah,
I feel like when it comes to what a fan would say, I feel like the way the rules have gone, the way the game has sort of changed, I would feel like you would say, hey, you know what? I really miss David Stern's NBA, where you just remember like the culture was like really hard hitting. And while he wasn't the most liked guy, he had like a lot of power in what he could do. Whereas Adam Silver seems to be this guy who's basically like kowtowing to owners all the time. That's what it seems like, of course, because the NBA has become such a corporatized business, really.
yeah.
So the answer to that is like, if I'm a fan, no. If I'm an owner, yeah, 100%. He's been great for us. But the league hasn't seen so much money.
See, but that's why I have you on there because I am the fan that is
Yeah, yeah,
I'm pissed off at the product.
yeah.
You know, and it's going to be interesting to see them have all these games televised in a league where your superstars don't play,
No,
so that's going to be very interesting to see. And I've found myself more recently, maybe in my older age, saying David Stern wouldn't stand for shit like this. You know,
I
like it's
100% agree. Listen, I'll be honest with you. I don't care. Like as a fan, I'm in total agreement with you. Like if if I say like, hey, listen, do you want to watch August, November like October, November basketball? Like I'm like, no, I really don't want to watch it. I don't know who's playing, who's not playing. I took my son to a Hornets game this season, right? Against like I can't remember the team. And it was against I can't remember anymore. But basically, like it wasn't a game that was worth watching, right? I feel like the competitive levels died down. I feel like this load management issue or whatever is just like that's a load of BS. I really just feel like it's a situation where it's like, hey, you know what? If LeBron doesn't want to play, what am I gonna do? What am I gonna do? You know, it's
true.
created this culture where it's just like, you kind of do whatever you want. It's like, oh, I don't feel like playing today. And honestly, it's really sort of hurt the television product. And now I think in the next decade, we have games on what? NBC, Amazon, ESPN, ABC,
Peacock.
you know, yeah, and Peacock, right? I think it's going to be a situation where like, oh, I don't know where to watch these games. I remember the NBA sort of putting out this message, well, these games are going to be on Monday, and now they're in a battle to educate the public on what days the games are on what platform, right? So I don't know. I feel like it's a lot of money. I don't think the owners care, but they maybe shot themselves in the foot in the relevance game where it's like the game is so diluted across all these platforms
Yeah.
on a week to week basis. I wouldn't be surprised. You're coming into the new media rights still. You're seeing all these games on Peacock, these games on Amazon. There's games on NBC here, and you would say the ratings have never been lower. We would probably hear that conversation. We always hear that conversation anyway, every year with the NBA anyway. But I
Yeah.
feel like you would get that now specifically because the product where it is the distribution's so diluted.
I will say this, and hold on, I'm gonna find this page because I like to shout out people when they
Yeah.
um Damon Allen,
Mhm.
Adam, a guy I follow on Instagram. He does sport content.
Mhm.
He said something about all the games being spread out, and he kind of made me stop being old man, get off my lawn because these are all the same places that you watch football.
Right.
So if you have it for the NFL season, I guess just keep it through the NBA season at this point. Like just you got a year-long subscription to Peacock now.
Right.
So like
Yeah.
I that made me feel a little bit better. It's like, maybe I am overreacting. I have all these things for the NFL. But the difference is on Sunday, who's showing up for your NFL team. You
That's
know,
right.
and if they're not playing, they are genuinely hurt.
That's
Like
right.
they're hurt. And I'm not and probably something broken. Like we're not talking sprain or bruise.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest issue, man. And I'm ready to see. Opening night's gonna be big, right? We
Oh,
know OKC gonna have everybody, Houston gonna have everybody. The Lakers, the Timberwolves, they're gonna show. Let's see that next Tuesday.
right.
When
Yeah.
when Steph Curry and Jimmy Butler are in like that's game two of three out of four.
Yeah.
That's the first night of the back to back. So they're like, eh.
Yeah.
And it goes back to the David Stern would never. Now they have like what is it? I think now if you're over 35, you can sit out a back to back and not be penalized.
Oh, that's true.
So like they put in incentive to
Yeah.
like low manage. And it's just crazy to me because
That's
Tim Duncan was still playing 75 games, guys.
right. That's right.
It's
That's right.
like they took the inch, man. They
Yeah.
made them
Let
out
me. I want to ask you a question. Have you heard about the NBA EuroLeague idea?
a little bit. I haven't dug deep into it.
Okay. All right. I was just asking you what like your thoughts might have been on it because I think it's basically going to be a situation where you can showcase or you can concentrate Europe or basically like the world's best talent
Yeah,
on another continent and like basically like put this product at the feet of every European because a lot of Europeans are watching basketball now and say all right, we have a concentration of talent here. This guy's been playing in the NBA EuroLeague for a really long time, and I think it's just like an easier sort of like feeder program into the NBA. But I wanted
Like
to know what your thoughts on it were, where
like a
it's like
G League for
I would say kind of like a G League,
G
basically,
League.
right? Yeah, I haven't looked into it that much, but I was like,
I like the idea of it.
yeah,
Um, I like anything that might breed more competition.
yeah,
You know,
yeah,
maybe should we have more two-way contracts on NBA teams? You know, to because guys on two-way deals are gonna play,
yeah.
or at least they're gonna push their teammates to want
That's
to
right.
play harder because you know the guy behind you is gonna go out here and he's a dog. You
Yeah,
know, so anything that can breed more competition. And I'm gonna be honest with you, the European players are coming over here and they're more hungry.
that's right.
They're
That's
more.
true. You've seen those games. Have you seen YouTube clips or Instagram clips of like professional games in Serbia? Yo, this crowd is electric.
First of all,
It's
I
tense.
I've had this conversation. I feel like last year. Can we bring that energy to the
Yeah,
state?
yeah,
You know, like it's funny. Like people laugh because Jokic is so nonchalant. But I remember one time when they asked him about going on a road game, he's like, "I play Euro basketball. This is nothing."
yeah.
And like, I think it had to be on a social media platform because it did like a quick edit and it shot to like a crowd in Euro basketball. I was like, the Garden ain't got nothing on that.
That's absolutely true. Like I thought it's such a tense atmosphere where I feel like this is really like good sort of like training for the league, right? You're basically like walking or running with ankle weights on,
Yeah.
given how intense the play is, given how intense the crowds are. You go into the NBA, you're walking in a very sort of like chill. It's a game on a Wednesday night. People got work the next morning. It's a
You feel
very
me?
chilled out
Yeah.
atmosphere, I would
Hey,
say.
look, go to the Hornets in Charlotte
Mhm.
on a Wednesday. It's probably, hey, it's not gonna get intense till like the last 5 minutes if it's close.
That's right. That's
If
right.
it's
And
close.
like 50-50 on if like LaMelo's playing. If LaMelo's playing, oh, good. If he's not, I don't know who I'm watching. I won't lie. I don't know who I'm watching. So,
Man, I'm a huge LaMelo Ball fan, but I got a box of people that I don't want to hear about no more. And he got one more year. I'm giving him one more year. He going in the box. I don't want to hear about his ass no more. I don't want to hear no more about potential when it
no,
comes.
no, more of it. Yeah.
um, Switching sports though.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny because I had questions. Just to let you know, like I had like revamped the questions a little bit.
Sure. No
At
problem.
first, after Boston got sold, I was going to ask you, do you see
Mhm.
a run of NBA teams getting sold?
Mhm.
And just in that, like the month of us talking,
That's right.
NBA teams got sold. So that was answered.
Yeah. Yeah. I can explain why actually. And
Go ahead,
it's,
give me a rundown.
yeah. So you said that like with the NFL sort of like recreate the situation as well, right? Where if you
Yeah,
could just see a run of NFL teams get sold. So I think with the NBA, I think it's like for legacy owners or for like owners who've just had the team for a while, I think it's a generational opportunity to cash out specifically now. You have the new media rights deal that's going into effect. That's going to pay each team. It's basically like three times as much, right? I just mentioned it, where it's just a very lucrative deal, and you sort of look at the environment. You're like, okay, well, this is actually really good for a macro play. I've owned this team for I don't know, let's say like 10 years, 15 years, whatever it is. We've seen the valuation spike every year. And this is the point where we can sort of sell at the top at the beginning of this new media rights deal and just sort of like cash out at a premium.
yeah.
And so I'm actually surprised because I know so last 3, 4 teams that got sold was what? Suns, Wolves, Celtics, and now Lakers, right?
Portland
I really thought that like
and Portland.
in Portland, yeah, Portland just got sold, right? And then also I would say like I really thought the Pelicans were going to get sold. To be honest with you, I'm like if you want to now turn like change hands on this franchise, do it now. It would be like the best situation.
Yeah,
So I don't know what Lakers sold for what 10 billion, right? Celtics sold for 6.
Oh, was it six? I thought it was eight. I don't know why I thought it was eight.
It's like 6.1 was the valuation,
Okay,
right?
okay.
So I don't know how much William Chisholm like actually paid, but like to take over what is it, the gross spec share. But with the NFL, I think the time where you would see that is the run up to the maybe the next media rights deal is when you would sort of see that where you're going to have maybe like some teams change hands. But the NFL actually, this is really interesting, and I don't think enough people talk about this. They recently allowed made an allowance for private equity groups to start taking stakes in NFL teams.
Well, that's what I was gonna chime in on that. Is like with the NFL teams, they were very one guy,
Yes.
like one person. So I
Yeah.
know that that's hard to sell with that.
Yeah, yeah. I think I don't know if the stake is like going to increase in like the next short term, but basically, I feel like yeah, you want one guy. It's
Yeah,
he has to be independently wealthy, whatever, whatever. It can't be like through a group or something like that. I mean, don't they like also say it's like when you become an NFL owner, they call you like welcome to the club or whatever. It's like the most
yeah,
expensive club in the world or something like that, right? So I think that's the kind of culture they've created. I think that's the kind of culture they're going to preserve. But with the private equity thing, I think that sort of move was brought into place so that owners themselves would have a chance to liquidate some stake
mm,
into their. It's basically a way to say, you know, you can make money, every year on a sports team, but where the real money gets made is the difference between how much you bought it for and how much you're going to sell it for, right?
yeah,
And I think that the private equity allowance, in part, was made um, for owners to sort of cash out on these like record high valuations that they're seeing.
yeah,
So, but I think the next time this would happen, or you would have like multiple teams change hands in a very short amount of time, I think it would be like to the run up to the next media rights deal, which I think is like 2029 or something like that. So
yeah.
we'll see.
With the NFL, I feel like they have to let groups or private equity funds get in on this
Hmm.
because it's only so many people with four, five,
That's right.
$6 billion,
Yeah.
and then is even less that want to buy a team.
Yeah. That's right.
Especially, let's be honest, NFL owners want to keep it American.
Yeah.
So they don't want like a live golf situation.
That's right.
They don't want those guys coming.
Yeah.
And those are one of the only groups of people who have the money to buy teams. So I think they're going to open up more to groups or private equity funds getting into the business because it's a good old boys group or gal if
That's
you're
right.
the Colts.
Yeah.
So like I think I could see them being changing their ways in that aspect.
Yeah. I mean, you're absolutely right. My like thing has always been like I have this conspiracy theory, and you've seen like my content to know what I'm going to talk about is like I'm going to talk about like the sovereign wealth fund next, where it's like you could see like if valuations like basically like outpace the level of like wealth in this country, you
Yeah,
may have something that may be too expensive for any American to buy, right? I
yeah,
don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's going to happen with the NFL. You're absolutely right. I think they want to keep it like American, so you say. Um, but it's definitely like an issue or a conspiracy to keep in mind. Is like, well, why is every sport gearing towards an international audience now? Why is the NFL making such a huge push? Why is the MLB now looking at the golf? They're playing baseball in Japan. Why is the NBA with the Paris games or they're doing the preseason overseas, right? My thing is always like, you never know. Owners maybe want to put this product at the feet of the people who control the purse strings to some of these funds, right? And a lot of these guys live out of Europe, they work out of London. We're talking about like, sovereign wealth funds in the Gulf and Southeast Asia and, you know,
yeah,
yeah. So um, I don't think that's going to happen with the NFL, but I think the NBA will be one of the first, I think, leagues to sort of uh, invite a sovereign wealth fund whenever it happens
yeah.
as like a fully controlling owner because it actually is already there's already indirect investment with through the what is it, the Wizards and the Capitals. there was the Qatar Investment Authority, I think, have directly invested into the parent company of the owners of these two teams. So, but we'll see, honestly. But you're right. Like they would have to basically say we have to increase the allowance of private equity groups to come in and maybe start taking chunks because the valuations are very high. It's a very small pool anyway. So
On top of it being a small pool, it's crazy.
yeah.
Uh, Real quick, this
Mhm.
wasn't notes, but dang, it just left me. It'll come back. It'll come back around. Switching sports, MLB. You got Bryce Harper cussing out the manager. I mean the mayor. Mayor, my
Yeah.
bad. Get it out. The commissioner. Um,
Yeah.
is a lockout inevitable for the MLB?
I mean, at this point, it looks like it, right?
They
You brought up a very interesting question, which is very obvious, by the way, but I don't think a lot of people sort of ask it or a lot of people like know the answer behind it. Is like, is a salary cap necessary for Major League Baseball? And I would say before you sort of look at that, I feel like there's going to be a lockout, 100%. I think the owners will sort of say, we do want a salary cap because we want cost certainty, right? If you're the owner of the Dodgers or if you're, there's no cap. There's nothing where you understand what your payroll would be year to year. Could it increase by 20, 30, 40, $50 million? You don't know. I feel like the market has sort of like a predictable stake in that. But I would say that the owners, they want cost certainty. I think from the players, they said that, we don't want capped salaries. This is like a sort of like a free market thing.
Yeah.
Um, I think what you really have to look at when it comes to the salary cap issue in Major League Baseball is revenue sharing. I think you have to take a hard look at that before we take a look at a salary cap because, what is a salary cap meant to target? It's basically trying to keep things very sort of competitive, right?
Yes.
But with a salary cap comes a floor as well. I think with Major League Baseball, and this is like I'm reading the notes on the back of my hand right now.
I feel you.
Their revenue share is baseball is a very local sport.
Yes.
Oh, you know this. There's 150, 162 games in the season, right? You're not everyone is going to be on national television all the time.
Oh,
It's not going to happen like this. So a lot of it is reliant on local revenue. And 48%, I think it's 48% of sort of like the net revenue is shared in Major League Baseball. So you have the Yankees putting in 48 from their local, you have the Tampa Bay Rays putting in 48 from their local revenue. And I think that what that ends up happening is there is it basically results in we have to give away half our local revenue, regardless of whether you're a small market team or a big market team. So if you have a small market team that has a history of like non-competitiveness, you're basically going to underinvest in the team every year
yeah.
because
I'm making enough money.
you yeah, right, exactly. So that's why, like, the Pirates, they got Paul Skeens, cool. Do they have anybody else? You know what I mean? Are they
Um,
gonna go out and pay for a big name free agent? No. So I think
Tommy
you have to,
Pham, that's their guy.
yeah, that's their guy. Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah. So I think you would have to seriously take a look at what revenue sharing looks like first, because in the NFL, it's like a perfect socialism. You have national revenue, it's split evenly across all 32 teams. In the NBA, there's more of a balanced approach where there's like a supplemental fund where revenue goes into, but a lot of the teams get to keep their local revenue, which keeps teams like Memphis or New Orleans kind of like, all right, we get to keep our local revenue. That's great for us. So before like a salary cap or anything is sort of discussed, I feel like a revenue sharing model would need to be changed. Now, I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if that's going to get discussed. I haven't done any sort of like big reading on it. Um, but I feel like in the media, what's really going to be thrown around is the idea of a salary cap, and I think a lockout is all but like guaranteed at this point.
Um, do we need salary caps in any like should we have them in all sports? Like, could you see the NFL without a salary cap or the
So
NBA?
It's a really good question. I mean, I would say like what is this is honestly, it's a good question that I really couldn't find an answer to. Where it's like
Yeah,
you do like again, if the revenue sharing model makes sense for all teams,
yeah,
maybe a salary cap might not be necessary. But when you look at Major League Baseball, which is kind of like that sort of like North Star example we have with regards to like no salary caps, like one of the things is like really cool about the MLB is that they can build an off-season narrative around like the biggest contracts every year that get signed, right?
yeah,
That's cool. That's fine. That keeps you relevant, but it definitely doesn't keep your team from over investing, or like it might just keep your team from like consistently under investing
yeah,
in your local team. So I would say like yes, simply because of the way the NFL and the NBA have worked. Um, those products are great, uh, and you don't really have any sort of like, yeah, that's my answer. I would say yes,
yes,
basically. Yeah,
yes. I
yeah,
got you. I got you,
yeah.
man. I remember my question.
Okay.
Are sports franchises, you're a business guy, not just a
Mhm.
sports guy, you're a business guy. But are sports franchises the safest investment?
Yes. I mean, if you take a look at it from a long period of time, if you're holding for a long time, yes, sports franchises in this country, with the way things have gone, are a very safe investment. Because I think a few owners realize this, where you're not necessarily like cracking a 60% profit like year to year from running your sports team.
Yeah,
What you're basically doing is holding that team, and you see valuations go up year over year over year over year because of the built-in scarcity of sports teams. I mean, there's only what 30 of, like in a major league, there's only like 30 of them, right? Not they don't make that many more. Maybe one, two, three come over the come across in the next decade or two. But there's like built-in scarcity there. You have diehard fans in this country. America's a sports country, basically.
and it's
You
born every year.
yeah, right. And so I would say that even from the like speaking from like a data perspective, if you look at what a particular team might have sold for in a current year and what it was resold for maybe 20, 10, 15, 20 years later, you would basically beat the S&P year over year based on the new figure that you sold it for. And I would say that yes, it's absolutely a very safe investment. It's good because you get to hold this asset. And if I told you, hey, you get to hold something, you got to give me a bunch of money for it, but
Yeah,
in 20 years, you're going to have 6 or 7 times as much, and you're going to be able to live out that for the rest of your life. Wouldn't you take that bet? I would
yeah.
take that bet 100%.
Every
10,
time,
10 out of 10, I would take that bet. So,
every day, twice on Sunday.
yeah.
Twice on Sunday. I figured that, but I had to talk to the business guy.
Of
But
course.
sports is like one of the only things that made money during the pandemic.
That's right. That's
Franchises
right.
they didn't lose. They
No.
I was trying to hit Powerball. You know what I'm saying? I could be at least a partial owner.
Yeah. I
At least
mean,
you know put my bid in for the Magic.
I'm
Yeah,
just, I was just, what was it? Like you have a, like the biggest jackpot or whatever. I think it was like you have a better chance of being struck by lightning twice
which is crazy.
than winning the Powerball. That's crazy, dude. That's
I've
crazy.
never even been close to Lightning, so I shouldn't even have wasted my $4. I shouldn't have even wasted my $4, man. Um, Real quick, man. I ask you one more thing and I get you out of here. Um, how would you fix the WNBA?
How would I fix the WNBA? I
Yes,
have no idea. To be honest with you,
me
I
neither.
feel like I there are issues with regards to salary and the salary cap and how everything's run through the NBA now, which I think presents some, I would say, obstacles.
Yeah,
But like, I look at the games and I swear it's like lightning in a bottle. I didn't like. I'm glad for Caitlin Clark because she brought like a bunch of people to the sport, and I'm watching this, and I'm like, this is an infinitely better product than what I watch in the NBA. It's physical, it's tough, it's competitive. Go ahead.
just talked about this not Sunday that passed, but a week ago, week from Sunday, with a WNBA guy, and it's like
Yeah,
They post up. They run plays. They
Yeah,
actually have back to the basket moves.
yeah.
Holy shit.
It's fantastic. The level of physicality. It's great. It feels like I'm I don't know if you have watched this. Do you remember um Whoopi Goldberg was in that movie? It was called
Eddie?
Eddie, I think. Yeah.
Eddie, yeah.
Right? You remember what's his name? Who was the guy on the Hornets at the time? I can't remember. But
Gamete?
basically I feel like I'm
No,
watching
Larry Johnson. Larry Johnson.
yeah.
Yeah.
I really just feel like I feel like I'm watching the NBA in like the like when I was like first like growing up.
Yeah.
Like that's what it feels like to me. And it's just such a lightning in a bottle product. And I don't know how I would fix it. All I would do is I would want to maximize my exposure to it, which I think is going to happen. I would expand the season. I would just whoever's responsible for this league, I would just make sure that you're growing it as much as possible, as fast as possible, because people love this sport. You know, there's like sports that are built in the arenas that are eventually built on television.
Yeah.
I feel like the NBA is just at this cusp where the arenas are now filling up.
Yeah.
You're going to put this thing on television and it's going to be huge. And I was like, I watched basketball this summer for the first time in like a very long time. And it was
Do you
fantastic. It was great.
do you think they're expanding too fast though with teams?
Yeah, there were a lot, right? I feel like what
They
is it?
announced four.
Portland.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just that seems a little like I don't want to say haphazard or
Volatile,
anything
right?
because I'm sure these weren't like impulsive decisions by any means. Like maybe they were coming down the pike and maybe they just decided to like speed up their runway or speed up their timeline on getting these franchises in here. But yeah, I feel like stuff is expanding a little too quickly. I mean,
Especially without a CBA, right?
hmm?
Especially without a CBA, right?
Oh yeah, without a CPA. That's right. That's yeah. I just like for any like business, I feel like once they start, once they get going, once they've like found either like product market fit or like the thing that really like sort of puts them at the X factor that just doesn't make them like anything else, it's always very dangerous.
Yeah.
Expanding too quickly, too soon.
Yeah.
Right? You have something that really works, grow it gradually. Um, but obviously it remains to be seen right
I got
now.
a question.
Mhm.
And about them expanding. I'm thinking about how you were talking about just evaluations with selling.
Yeah,
Did they have held off so they can get more money for franchises? Because
yeah,
let's say if they got 200 million for a franchise, just for a number, right?
yeah.
Next year it'd probably be 250, right? Or
250. That's right.
like I
This
don't
is this is a really good point that you're bringing up because I feel like when the Lakers were sold, and this is me just like musing in my head, not like any sort of like like hard news or hard information, but I think someone who must have been really like been pissed at the Lakers selling was like John Henry and Fenway Sports Group. They're really relentlessly
know. Yeah,
pursuing the Las Vegas franchise, right? And I think they were going to set expansion after the Celtics got sold. I don't know if they decided that they're going to hold off and let the Lakers sale go through and then set expansion fees. But I feel like if I was a prospective owner, I was like, oh my God, I am so pissed right now
yeah.
because the Lakers just sold for 10 billion. Now I may have to like cough up 10 billion for this. But another like conspiracy theory I have is like LeBron is really timing his retirement because I know he's in bed with Fenway Sports Group, right?
Yes, he is.
He's in with them. He has his stake in Liverpool through them and stuff like that. And he does have ownership. He does have eyes on his ownership. And I know that you cannot be like an active NBA player when you own a franchise. So my thing is the first person that he's gonna call to retire, like when he like finally does it, it's he's like, I don't think he's gonna tell his wife or his kids. I think he's gonna call John Henry. And he's
I
like,
see that.
yeah, I'm retiring. Let's like start the timeline on this like Vegas franchise. I feel like that's what's gonna happen.
I can see
But
that.
yeah.
I- but yeah. And one more thing that'll help the WNBA. Don't schedule your opening day playoff quadruple header on Sunday to start at 1 o'clock.
Is that when it is? Is that what's
It's
going on?
this Sunday. It starts at 1 o'clock. It might
It's
start at 12. Hopefully, at least it starts at 12 so we can watch the first half of stuff. I don't know.
okay, yeah. All right, if it starts at 12. But honestly, I can't I'm sorry, you're bringing this to me now. This is actually crazy. You don't do like
Yeah.
You got a bunch of NFL games. You got people getting ready for the NFL games. I feel like regardless of what time you set it up on Sunday, like that's a little crazy.
They should have did it Friday. Friday is the perfect day.
Friday, yeah, because it's between Thursday night and Sunday night, or Thursday night and
Yeah,
Sunday
actually, yeah,
morning. And
yes. Two games Thursday night, two games Saturday, Friday night.
yeah,
That
that would have been work. That would have worked.
WNBA holler at us, man. We'll get you right. We'll get you right. All right, man. We're gonna wrap this up and get out of here. Let everybody know where they can find you, where they can read your incredible stuff. Go ahead, let them know.
Awesome. So you can follow us on Instagram at Game Time Growth, and then you can just hit the link in our bio there. My newsletter is called Strategic Bites. We publish every Sunday with a new business story. It's not spam. We designed it for people whose attention spans are absolutely shot. So don't worry, you're gonna yeah, you're gonna skim it every day. You're gonna get something out of it every week.
Yes, yes. Amazing story on the not Sacramento, San Antonio Spurs arena
Yep.
situation.
Thank you.
Good read. Yeah, man. Y'all already know me, it's talking game. Tell you guys the same thing that anybody on YouTube or social media platforms. Subscribe, like, share, tell a friend. And let's just keep this thing rolling, man. It's been talking game. Peace.
Yeah. Peace.
Oh man.